I'm kind of freaking out. I was freaking out. Still am kind of freaking out.
I feel like I'm just waking up. Oh, I'm getting stronger. It rained last night, which makes it feel really good out here.
I'm proud of myself for not taking a break once for a 2-minute plank.
That was your second one too.
Well, I took like 2 breaks with the first one, and then the second one, I was really trying not to take any breaks.
I think you're getting a lot stronger.
Yeah, maybe.
I may have made a bad choice last night. You see, they were on sale, where if you buy 5 of them, they were like $3 each, and I had a $2 off coupon. So I felt like I couldn't afford not to buy them. But then when I bought them, I got another coupon for another $2 off. I just sat down for my coffee. Haven't even taken a sip yet. And now it's 8:59, which means our Hebrew lesson starts in 1 minute. We're playing Hebrew Pictionary. Our team just got the first point.
Alright.
What? I think gratitude went drawing now.
Okay, there's some arrows going on.
I know
here.
what it is.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Why
job.
did you do that?
I think it's not her fault that her drawing was.
How come their team gets all these clues?
Yeah. How come nobody knows
They
what
have
that
to be
is?
smart.
None of you guys do either.
Machine.
What is he doing?
You know what?
Okay. Are you forfeit?
We are up 4-2.
Noel, good.
Wait, who got it?
Eden. What is
Thank you, Eden.
It means lock. That's a key.
Oh, you thought we weren't gonna get it.
And now we're doing a tiebreaker where Rachel's drawing it.
If you say something out loud, you lose. You have to talk amongst the group.
Oh. Yeah.
Busted.
And this is a noun.
How do you say throw a ball? You guys are supposed to study Hebrew.
Oh, ball is
Hey, shh.
That's correct.
I pay for you guys to take Hebrew lessons so you can win the contest for me. Oh, how did this happen? Hebrew lesson is over. We're making a lot of progress actually, but it is hard work. Like being there at 9 a.m., no flexibility, 5 days a week. I'm not sure what we got ourselves into. One of my favorite things about summertime, these berries that we get, because one of my favorite things as a kid was just to be able to pick berries. So I planted these berries 4 or 5 years ago. These are all raspberry bushes here. They go. Yeah, you got blackberries there too?
Yeah, these.
And these ones are blackberries over here. But my favorite thing is, like, first thing in the morning, the kids come out here and they just start picking berries. And the baby loves them. And you can see they're just like everywhere. See, they're like underneath there. You can see them back there. You can see them like all along the fence there. Raspberries, they grow like a weed. You don't need to maintain them very well. And they're just like, they produce a ton of fruit. So it's just, I feel like it's like my favorite plant for small kids. They don't have like thorns, like really that bad. And Filia, what's your job out here?
Water all the plants, all the raspberry bushes, the blackberry bushes every day.
Yeah, you have to water them every day, but did you have to water them today?
Oh, or tomorrow, no.
Why not?
Because it rained and
I know, that's like free work, huh? Look, there's still some here.
the piece.
Oh yeah, we got peas here. Oh man, this one's ready to be picked. Look at all these peas up here too. Maybe I'll try and get my mom to give you guys a tour, but there, we got grapes coming in here.
See.
Rainier likes to come and pick the grapes. Here, see those?
I only picked one, but then
I know, they're not even good, but he eats them anyways. Tomatoes and lettuce, more lettuce, kale. I feel like you haven't been on camera lately. I'm sorry about that. There's probably dog lovers out there that want to see your face.
I'm going to Avenue Brew right now to fill out a job application with Eden. But I don't really see it as a job because it's gonna be 1 day a week and my dad just wants me to go there for probably just 3 months to learn. I think it will be good for me. Okay, so here's the story. I went to get the job application and I filled out some things, but there were some things that I wasn't sure about. So I brought it back home. I started talking to my dad and he said he wanted me to film something more, something like that. I did not want to talk about filming, so I kind of broke down and my mom helped me fill out, and then I broke down. My mom helped me fill out the questions. I walked back to hand in the application. I gave it to them. They were really nice. It was not that bad at all. So I'm going to be starting on Sunday. And I don't know how I feel about it, but I think I've already learned stuff. I've already learned a lot, so I kind of think I'm gonna learn a lot more. I just hope it goes well the rest of this time. We're gonna give it a 3-month try and then reevaluate. I kind of, at this point, I kind of just want to do it for 3 months. I kind of feel a little bit alone, like being the only person in my family who's, or the first person of all the kids and the only person who's having a job. And of course, I feel like my siblings are making kind of a big deal out of it, not really on purpose, because I mean, I guess it kind of is a big deal, but I don't know. So that's all.
Nice hit! Go, 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 go! Oh, it's still good! Who's rounding first? He's rounding second. Nice hit! You got it! Good job!
Nice. Good job, Seven.
Good job. You ripped it out there.
I was really excited when I hit that ball and I didn't think that I would do it. Right now we're in the lead and I think we're going to win this game because it's almost over and we're really far in the lead. It's like 1-9 or something. Okay.
Bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen.
7 won the baseball game. They killed it. Cammie and I just got back from date night with sushi, but it's time for Q&A.
Okay, Memory, don't interrupt us for like a little while we're shooting, okay?
Today we are going to do something very different. We are going to try and answer every question with no time limit. So this is going to be like the longest vlog on the planet. Because I looked at the questions and I'm so excited by almost all of them. Editorial note. If one of you fine ladies, I just say that because it's mostly ladies, that are watching this vlog, can please put a comment that lists the time code and the question, for that way it can like help us so other people can just go to what questions interest them, I would really appreciate it. Daisy Preston 08 asks, why don't you take a pregnancy test? We kind of explained this a lot on the previous vlog, I think. Like some of the benefits for taking a pregnancy, or for not taking a pregnancy test. Like this time period of not knowing, I think is really valuable. Cami and I have different preferences about it though. And I want to address this other comment that BB Mama made in the last 48 hours that said, Cami, why don't you do it? You don't need Ben's permission.
Ben and I are on different pages when it comes to pregnancy tests. Like, I want to take it right away and he wants to wait. So actually we came up with a compromise. He wanted to wait like a month and I was like, I can wait maybe another 2 weeks. So I think we might be taking it sometime soon.
1 week, right?
Or yeah, in 1 week actually.
It's on my calendar, I saw it.
Oh yeah, I put it there.
To take test.
I do see how like the testing can become addictive and can be a crutch for not like learning a lot of cool lessons. But when push comes to shove, I think I'd still want to test sooner. To address BB Mama's question or comment, I don't really think I need to have Ben's permission, but I think it would be good for us to both agree to this and do it together instead of apart.
I think I would need her permission. I mean,
it's not just my baby. I mean, I guess I don't really like agree with the whole like, well, it's my body thing. Like,
yeah, I don't agree with that.
Like when you have sex with someone else, you at that point are giving your body over in a sense to this other person.
I know pregnancy tests are really like natural in our culture, but just because information or tools or technology is there does not make it good and does not make it helpful. And I don't think it should be an automatic thing. So ironically, a lot of times the question I ask is, why should you take a pregnancy test? Like, what is the benefit of knowing, especially spiritually? And I don't think there's a lot of answers. I'm not saying they're bad, but sometimes I feel like I'm put on trial because people almost act as if like women especially have the right to know. And I just don't think...
It's kind of a luxury item.
Totally.
Really. It's not a human need.
Okay, we do got to keep moving a tiny bit because holy crap. Daisy Preston 08 again asks, have you ever thought about starting a YouTube channel for sex? It would be fun and a great thing for other couples to watch. No. But I do have some thoughts on making some more content around sex that's a little bit more purposeful and less reactive. And we're not starting a sex channel for the same reason we're not starting a parenting channel and a fitness channel and a cooking channel. It's because we feel like the broader message here is about God's design for family. Sex is a huge part of that, but so are a lot of other things. Red Rock 187 asks, will Cami continue to drink and smoke if she is pregnant? What are your views on pregnancy with restricting these or exercise?
They've changed over the years. I used to not drink. Well, I used to not really like alcohol. But I used to think that I shouldn't drink at all during pregnancy. But I don't believe that anymore. Like, I don't think it's unhealthy to have a little bit of alcohol while being pregnant.
And we're talking maximum like 3 drinks and 3 cigars a week. And that's maximum, I think.
Yeah.
Excluding vacations. and like one drink at a time. I'm just telling you what we do.
Exercise, I think I've always felt like it would be a good idea, but I never was able to exercise during any of my pregnancies until the last one. I actually ran until 7 months pregnant, which was a big deal for me. And I think as long as you're like somewhat careful, I actually think exercise can be good for you while pregnant.
In case you haven't noticed this, we don't like really follow general medical current advice. Because I don't think it's in our best interest. I think it's like a fad. I mean, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they were telling women not to breastfeed. So like, a lot of people like come down really hard on the no alcohol, no smoking thing while pregnant because doctors, there's some studies out, but you could find studies either way. And I would just say we use common sense, you know, more than medical advice. A lot of women follow these rules, I think, because it's really important to them to feel like they're being a good mom. And they're just scared of really like being a bad mom or a bad carrying mother. And I don't know, we're actually in the process of trying to not operate off of fear.
Janet Palmer 101 asks, my first question is, do you own any sex toys? And my second question is, would you touch each other in a sexual way or even have sex if a kid, no matter what age, is in the room? We do not own any sex toys as of right now. We have in the past.
Would you touch each other in a sexual way or have sex if a kid, no matter what age, is in the room? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but yes, we have sex with kids in the room, especially when they're younger, but you know, we've had to do it in discreet ways when they're like asleep or don't know or under the covers, but we definitely prefer it with kids not in the room. I'm just telling you, after 16 years of marriage, with the types of traveling and living situations we've been in, you get creative. And L'Oreal 2 says, how do you handle being intimate during the day, like while you are in Israel? I know the girls are with you, so did you just tell them you needed some alone time? Finding time to be intimate with teenagers in the house is harder than it was when they were little. Oh, weird, really? I guess I saw it the opposite.
Well, teenagers are more aware of what you're actually doing. I think that's what she's probably implying.
Yeah, I think maybe what you're saying is it's harder to find time for intimacy with older people in the house if you're trying to keep it a secret from them. Is that what she's saying? I don't think, you know, we don't like blast it out. I've heard some people do, and sometimes I wish I had the balls for that to say like, hey, we're gonna go upstairs and have sex now. We don't do that. I think our kids know, and we just say, hey, we're going upstairs, we don't want to be disturbed for 30 minutes. But I don't feel it like super necessary to tell them so much more, but we don't hide it either.
Yeah.
Heather Q says, you guys have lived in the South for a while and seem to have a pretty eclectic taste in music, so how much country music would you say you have in your collection?
2 words, Johnny Cash.
That's true, is he country? OMG Meg asks, can we hear more from Seven about the haircut?
Yes, I told my grandma when she was watching us when my parents were gone that I wanted a small haircut, just a trim, because it was always getting in my face, and apparently she didn't listen, so she chopped it really short. I don't not like it, but I don't like it, so I guess I'm fine with it.
Are you gonna grow it out again?
Yeah, probably.
OMG Meg asks, given Ben's status with his own brother and their history, I think Ben shared that he wasn't the nicest brother growing up. What do you do as parents to cultivate strong sibling relationships with your kids? Yeah, my relationship with my siblings was fairly, I would say 2 words, terrible and very normal in a way. Like, it might have been a little bit more antagonistic than some, because I was kind of a bully. I was the older brother, and I do not like have any proud moments, or not many proud moments of my younger years towards either of my siblings, actually. And I've gone through different phases of beating myself up about it to actually coming to grips with the fact that I don't think normal, healthy, loving, fond sibling relationships naturally happen. So I was actually super shocked and blown away when Dove and Eden started to become friends, and I started to see things that were like loving, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is possible. It was really exciting to me.
Yeah.
What do we do to cultivate it?
If they have a problem with the other person, we really help them work it out, and so that things don't just like fester. I think we also like have taught them how to treat each other. I think we assume they don't actually know very well how to treat each other well, and they need to be taught that.
And I assume they want to know.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a kid will punch another kid, and you can just come down hard on that kid and be like, what the heck are you doing? Be nice. And as a little kid, what I don't think my parents really knew or believed, or what I didn't feel like they believed, was that I wanted to be nice, but didn't know how. And I needed help knowing how. So I assume that with our kids, that they want to know how to love their siblings, but don't know how. Because jealousy, selfishness, competitiveness, other things get in the way.
And I think we have done a fair job of holding up the sibling relationship and just say, like, you guys are gonna be with each other for the rest of your lives. Like, this is the most important relationship, more important than any friend that's gonna come your way.
And we believe that.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of talk about socialization with public school or just any type of school. And we made the decision when we started homeschooling, in fact, it was why we started homeschooling, that if we have the choice between our kids having a healthy relationship with their siblings for the rest of their life, or 12 years of peer relationships in school, I would choose them to be completely maladjusted and weird socially, but be friends with their siblings for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I think that's more important. I think one other thing that's important is if you do have any bullying, you have to kind of come down and protect the weaker sibling. So some of our oldest Dove, she had traits that were very similar to me when I was her age, where she wants to get her own way, she has an idea of how life ought to be, and she would enforce it upon her siblings. And I don't think you can blame her, it's like a very natural thing to do. But it would be stepping on the toes of her siblings. And they were too like young or weak to stand up for themselves. So I had to actually come down pretty hard on Dove and say, like, no, this is not gonna work. We spoke as a group together and said, like, to the younger siblings, if this ever happens, I want to hear about it. And you know, we like really made it a public thing, not something to be ashamed of. It's just a normal thing, but it's not going to be a tolerated thing. This is always my question with spanking, like, what do you do when one kid hits another kid? And this could be in a sandbox at the park, or this could be in your home life. And not that spanking needs to be the answer for everything, but if you're not willing to bring down some sort of justice, if you let one kid get away with punching other kids or physically abusing other kids or hurting other kids, if you let them get away with that, or just like be like, okay, well, say sorry, in a way, you're teaching your family that physical violence is okay, or that abuse is okay. So it's why we have justice like in the world with like the prison system. And I think as parents, we get the privilege to do that in our own families and show the kids like what is not acceptable and what's wrong. Lauren 200 Clara asks, ever thought if your kids masturbate? Also, do you give your kids lessons on sex, like positions, etc.? Yeah, we thought if our kids masturbate, and we talk to them about it, and we know which ones at least tell us that they do. That's something that we think is really important to talk about. So we share about our viewpoints of masturbation, what our experience has been with it, and try and provide an open place where they can share their experience about that. Positions, that's not something we have felt would be beneficial to talk to with our kids.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, to me that's a more like practical, like when they're having sex, I would like them to be free to ask us those types of questions, but it seems a little preemptive at this point.
I've talked to the girls specifically about like their anatomy, and because I just remember feeling like ashamed and like I like had no clue of my own anatomy, which I think is kind of tragic, and I didn't really want them to have that same experience. And I think some kids are more curious in that way or proactive in that way than others, and yeah, so. But I wanted to be the one to talk to them about that.
But that was a really hard conversation for you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Pulcher is asking about sibling relationships again, but she's asking about if we let nature take its course or if we encourage inclusion. Man, that's a tough one. That's a great question. I love these questions. In a lot of ways, we do let nature take its course, I think. Because if one kid's being a jerk to the other kids, we could step in and tell them to stop, but I actually think the way their siblings will treat them will actually be one of the best lessons that they can learn about why it's important to stop. Way more valuable than hearing it from us. So if it's like a younger sibling that's being picked on or can't defend themselves, that's one thing. But a lot of times it's the older ones. They're just like totally provoking each other. And they like, we call it poking the tiger. Like Seven will poke Dove and Dove will punch him in the face. And I'll be like,
what were you expecting?
What do you want me to do? Like, it was kind of like all the lessons are like right there.
Yeah.
I guess I could tell Dove not to punch him in the face, but then again, he poked her and was kind of asking for it. It's hard to, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of lessons there already.
And then generally speaking, with kids being left out, I don't like, and I try to prevent. But the other day, Memory had a friend over that was her age, and they were reading to each other on the couch, and Filia like wanted to like be there with them, but I could kind of tell she wouldn't just sit there and listen. So I told her, we're gonna let them have their time, and then, you know, you can play with them later. So I kind of like feel out the situation. Sometimes I think it's okay.
I'm not cool with purposeful exclusion. If they're like trying to single a kid out and leave them out, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But sometimes the kid doesn't fit in with the activity for age reasons.
Yeah.
And sometimes we say, hey, find an activity that works for everyone. We say that quite a bit actually too. Sarah, you ask a very long question, but we said we'd answer all of them. So first question, curious why you don't celebrate Shabbat on Sunday since it's generally recognized in evangelical circles as the Christian Sabbath. Two ways to answer that. One is none of the ways Christians actually celebrate Shabbat, I think, are actually rest anyways. They just took a Sabbath day and turned it into their day of worship. Maybe it's worship, maybe it's not, but going to church and everything that entails has never been restful for us. And the second thing is, way before Christians were around, the Hebrew calendar, which the Christian calendar was based off of, partially in reaction and partially by adoption, celebrate it from Friday night to Saturday night. So we find that that's more historically accurate and beneficial for us. You say that I've spoken about struggles with submission to authority. I don't remember that, but I believe you. You don't have a boss and you don't attend a church regularly. What earthly authorities are you in submission to and accountable to? That's a great question. We kind of attend a church-ish regularly, if you consider a mega church a church. No, that is not where we find our submission. I would say the place for me personally, I have a mentor and a sponsor from the 12-step program, Sexaholics Anonymous, that I have been, he's been my sponsor for close to 8 years now. And I have a phone call with him once a week. It's about half an hour to 45 minutes long. And I do my best to submit to him. But to be honest also, I have really struggled, not with the concept of submission to God, but in what that practically looks like as a Christian. Because in our experience, a lot of people talk about it, and we spend a lot of time talking about it. But when push comes to shove, when someone tells you to do something that you think is destructive for your family, that's the only time you ever really know if you are submitting. You're not just submitting because they agree with you. And just getting church membership and saying I submit to authority, but then not really sharing your life with people, or the authority structure is so kind of like shallow that they only really like bust people when you're doing like something crazy obvious sexually. I don't know. There's a lot of times I thought I was pro submission and that I thought other people were, but looking back, I think a lot of it was a game to just feel better about ourselves.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out like what true submission is and what is even beneficial to us.
I would like a board of directors or elders over Fight for Together that really understood and cared about this ministry and vlog that we could submit this to. That's one of my like long-term hopes, is to have a group of men like that or people.
I've never heard that.
Really?
I mean, I'm not shocked, but
Yeah, I've written down the idea like a number of times over the last couple of years. Terrelyn 819 wins the prize for longest question in the history of Fight for Together. So I'm going to summarize it. But basically what you're saying is you've noticed that we're pretty analytical and intentional about life. And you're saying that you are similar, you're analytical and you think about everything. And sometimes it's frustrating because you don't know how to turn it off, and you use the word exhausting. And you see some people who are just enjoying life, they're happy-go-lucky. So your question is, do you get overwhelmed with thinking so deeply about everything? Does it make you happy, or does it ever drag you down like it does me? Wow. I feel what you're describing all the time. I always wish I could just go to a comedy movie and just laugh. I'm like, oh my gosh, those people are having so much fun. Wouldn't it be cool to just go and just enjoy it? I can't like enjoy those types of movies because I'm always thinking about what's behind it, who made it, what are they trying to teach, what's the value of this, why is this story so corrupt? And that feels like my entire life.
it at times feels like a bit of a curse.
It feels like a curse. It makes me feel really lonely at times. It feels like I can't relate to people. It feels like I can't have as much fun. But then again, like, I'm really happy with our life and I wouldn't trade it for anything. So even though it's kind of like a grass is always greener type of scenario, like, I don't think I'd really like to be those people that I'm saying I'd like to be. I just don't want to be myself right now or feel so damn lonely. This is what I found that's true of almost any gifting, is you can't let your gifting define you, and you have to know how to put it in its place. And a lot of times, because I'm smart or analytical, I've always led with that and shown people that in times that are really inappropriate. And sometimes people just want to get to know me, and I'm not analytical. I mean, I'm analytical, but I'm a lot of things. I'm Ben. You know, Ben is a human. He's a person with a lot of traits. And because I found pride in some of those giftings, or because they're so strong, I feel like I hid behind them. So no matter what your gifting is, whether it's efficiency or telling jokes or planning things, every gifting has its limitations and its place. And it's really great to know where those limitations are. So in marriage, that plays out really well, because I might be analytical, but sometimes I need Cammie to tell me, hey, stop, you know, trust me. I want a mocha right now. And I'm like trying to analyze the price and what's the best choice. And she's like, no, I want it. And I'm like, okay. You know? I feel like if I don't, my analytics shouldn't trump her desire, always. You know, her desire is just as valuable as my thinking through things. And sometimes it flips on the other way.
Ismalandy asks, would love any tips you could give as far as traveling with a 3 and a 1-year-old and your experience in Washington. It might be hard traveling with a 3 and 1-year-old, but it's not impossible.
We don't do iPads and stuff like that. We look out the window, man, look at that firefly. Yeah. And we've made a number of road trip videos, but we have like an efficient way of traveling where we put the hours in, and we'll have like a rest stop, be a gas stop, and also be a food stop, so that, you know, we're just crushing miles.
We bring food in the car.
Okay, Adam and Joy +7 says, could you please give me the recipe for the homeschool mom drink? we actually did make a vlog episode on this, and this is how you can find it. You go to the YouTube description right now, and in there is a link to a document. I forget what it's called. But you click on that document and it lists every single episode and it lists the contents of every single episode. So then you click like Command F, or it's like Apple F, or whatever the little swirly key on the Mac keyboard is, I don't know. And then you type in homeschool mom drink or something like that, and you see what comes up, and you should be able to find it there, hopefully. Red Rock 187 coming back again. Oh, another one. What specific religion are you? Christian, Jewish, what sect? We follow Jesus. The Nicole's Bunch asks, what do you do for healthcare? We are a family of 9, and this is a major struggle for us.
We do Samaritan Ministries, which is a, what do they call it? Like a share program. For our family, who's a family of 8, we pay, I think it's $425 a month to another specific family or person to cover their health care needs for that month.
It's not technically health insurance, it's like some kind of like co-op deal. We've only done that for 2 or 3 years, ever since Obamacare made it so that if we didn't have health insurance, we would get fined like some crazy ridiculous amount. Because we didn't have health insurance for, I feel like it's been 5 or 10 years. So actually that's just as honest of an answer of what we do for healthcare as we don't really do healthcare. We were fine without insurance. We paid for a birth out of pocket for a midwife, which was maybe $4,000, and we've had a few incidents with a broken arm here and there, but our kids never saw doctors. It wasn't like a regular thing. So we were able to keep our medical expenses pretty low. Mama Gort asks, do you do any community outreach or service projects as a family? And you have a hot tip about Stumptown Coffee. Good to know. We do this vlog. We host meals on Saturday nights around our fire. We host some families for Shabbat. We used to do like a ton of stuff, like big parties and whatnot for our community. We're taking a break from all that right now. Jill Kristen asks, do you ever feel like vlogging gets in the way of just living life? And do you think it would ever negatively impact your children? Yes, it always gets in the way of just living life. If we weren't vlogging right now, we might be making love up in our bedroom and watching movies. That's not a joke, actually. Yeah, it's completely interruptive into our life. I mean, it probably takes our family 30 hours a week to film, plan, edit, publish, and title our life.
Yeah, but it's something we feel called to, so we're willing to be put out by it.
It's hard to know, though, sometimes, if it's worth it. We think it is, so we're going to keep on doing it. And does it negatively impact our children? Yeah, I think so. It's hard to gauge that, though. Like, to me, that's like asking, does your job negatively impact your children? Well, you're away for 40 hours a week and you're not hanging out with them, so that has a negative impact. But also having a job that pays the bills, theoretically would be better for the kids in the long run. At least that's the idea. So, you know, it is hard. It puts a strain on the family. Even today, Dove was gonna go do this job application thing, and I was like, Dove, please film this. This would be so interesting. And she's like, doesn't want to do it. And I'm like, man, do I push her? You know, for this vlog, for this audience, and actually even something that I think would be good for her, which is to externally process this? Or do I just be like, you know, I just need to be sensitive to Dove right now? I don't know, but I feel like that's a lot of our life. You know, our kids, I have to assume that they're always wondering, when Dad's holding a camera, does he really care what I'm saying, or is he just trying to put it like for the audience to see? And I wonder the same thing like all the time. I don't know, there's a fine line, and it's super scary sometimes, like, to know where I am on it. What gives me some peace of mind is a lot of this life we were living, you know, way before we were vlogging anything. Like, just use the marathons as an example. You know, I think we ran 3 or 4 marathons before ever filming any of them. It was just something we did. I think if we were hiding a lot of stuff from the vlog, that would be really hard. Or trying to present a face of like having it together, that would be really, really hard. But as it stands, because we don't mind sharing the good and the bad, it makes it not challenging in that way. I wonder with the kids, like sometimes when we're pushing them too hard or when it's appropriate to bring the camera or not.
Ad Namba asks, during the course of your marriage, have there times that divorce was brought up or times that either of you felt that there was no way to recover? And what helped the most to come back together? I remember thinking of divorce, but I've never like...
Yeah, when?
Well, this was like probably our first 5 years of marriage, but I don't remember talking to Ben about like divorce ever. Maybe I said like I thought of it, you know, after like the heat of the moment had passed.
She did tell me on our honeymoon that she wished she hadn't got married. That wasn't, she didn't exactly saying divorce, but it felt like she was saying divorce.
Yeah, I mean, I've had moments of wondering like, oh, did I marry the right person? And that was...
Really?
Yeah, that was like all in the first like 5 years or so of marriage.
Huh.
Because it was really hard. Like, marriage was really hard back then. And I think when things are really hard, you begin to question like, is this worth it?
I didn't have that response, I don't think. Now, like, so we got in this huge fight. I don't know if we've told this story in this vlog, but it was our 3rd year of marriage or something, and Cammie left the state. This is when we were living in Washington. She drove down to Portland, Oregon, and she was gone for 3 or 4 days. I never thought about divorce, but I could also see no hope for anything getting better either. Like, it seemed really bleak and hopeless. It wasn't like it was some shining beacon of light. Be like, marriage is gonna work out, you know, but I don't know, divorce wasn't one of those things on my mind. What helped the most to come back together?
What has helped our marriage the most has been each of our individual commitments to taking care and growing of ourselves and not like focusing so much on his growth or him focusing on mine, but I focus on my growth.
I don't see myself as a good person, and the Bible is pretty clear about that humans are kind of all the same and we're all short of perfection. And when you compare other things, it doesn't really matter so much as like, okay, there's God and you're not him. So I think a lot of our marriage, I was really focused on you, and that just made me bitter and angry. It made it hard to forgive, and I was always like basically trying to prove that I was better than you. And I think once we started to really believe in the gospel, that Jesus died for both of us and that we needed him just as much, for me, instead of looking at how bad she was, I would realize, oh, okay, I'm not any better.
Yeah.
I don't have a leg to stand on to condescend and look down and judge you. So like Cammie's saying, I was really just focusing on myself and not judging you.
But I think even being able to focus on my own stuff, I had to believe that I was like loved by God enough. Otherwise, it's really scary to focus on your own stuff. You have to know that you're like loved and accepted just as you are.
This is the last question. We made it. Ismalandy asks, how do you help kids dress modestly without shaming them or their bodies? What we have tried is to say as many positive things as negative things. To me, modesty has become this talk that's like a giant like thou shalt not. And I don't think modesty is about that. I don't think beauty is about that. What we like to tell our girls is they are drop dead gorgeous, beautiful, stunning. In fact, I think that about their mother too. And modesty is about holding back the firepower. Okay, so you don't want to use all the ammo you got all the time. There's a time and a place for it where it works and it'll have these desired effects and be freaking awesome. And there's other times where it's like you don't want the results of what happens when you show off the ammo or use your firepower or whatever the analogy is. But we believe God gave it. It's like, it's not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing.
Yeah, because I think that takes away a lot of the shame if you build, I'm talking about girls and specifically here, but build like the girls up and say, your body is beautiful, like God made you this way. And then say, okay, so because of this, we want to teach you how to protect that. So.
The other thing we do a lot of, and this is a huge one with shame, and not just modesty, but instead of saying that's wrong or like saying like that's inappropriate in a way that is basically like saying that's universally wrong, we use words like saying, hey, I'll just use Dove as an example. Hey, Dove, I would prefer if you didn't wear that thing because I think that it causes blah, 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 okay? So it's really just saying, hey, this is my opinion, and when you leave this house or have a husband or whatever, like, you can try something else, and we'll love you and care about you and not judge you for it. But right now, this is like what we think or how we feel or what we prefer. And that's really huge because the other option is to like have kids think that you're teaching them like holy law when it's not. You know, the words that the kids use around the house, it doesn't say in the Bible, thou shalt not say shit. So when kids say that, you can say, hey, this is a house rule that we don't say that because we have determined that it's not appropriate. That's fine. I don't think a kid should feel like they're a moral failure because they don't fit in with our preferences. And there is a huge difference between our preferences and our strategy and our ideas and what like the Bible says as an example.
Right.
Huge difference. Okay, we did it.
We're done.
For those of you that have stuck around this long, I really hope this was valuable for you. I'm assuming you wouldn't have stuck around if it wasn't. Thank you for asking these questions. Some of you guys really put yourself out there by asking them. It's really surprising, and I think it made for a better time for us. I don't think we're going to be able to get to all of them this way every time, and we'll see how this vlog does in regards to if people even watch it, or I guess leave a comment or a like if what you think about this format, because or a dislike. Hell, why not dislike it? That's fine too. Like, but give us some feedback because I think this is going to be a little bit tougher to edit in one sense, but then if it's helpful, you know, I'm all for it.